G'day, I'm Stephen Matchett, and this is Future Campus, a new weekly guide to where university life and work is now and where it will be. One of the biggest issues for all universities is what to do with all their emerging research talent, a resource way too important to waste in the face of global challenges. And of course, talent comes from all over. It looks to me, though, like the University of Sydney has come up with a way to create a great research resource. A new program, the $100 million Sydney Horizon Fellowships. And that's going to provide 40 continuing full-time roles for early and mid-career researchers working on climate change, health outcomes, environmental sustainability. To explain where the Horizon Fellowships come from and where they will take the university, and hopefully the rest of us, I'm joined by DVC Research at the University of Sydney, Emma Johnston. Professor Johnston joined Sydney a year or so back, moving from the old enemy at the University of New South Wales, where she was Dean of Science. In 2016, Campus Morning Mail said, and I quote, "She is the endlessly energetic Professor Johnston is a poster person for her discipline, marine ecology, and for women in STEM." She is also the only DVCR I know who has ever had her own TV science series, Coast Australia, which screened around the world. Hello, Professor Johnston. Thanks for sparing the time.
Hello.
Yeah. Can I start by asking about the fellowships? It's that they seem an absolutely extraordinary idea. What's the strategy and why the specific disciplines?
We are so excited to be launching the Sydney Horizons Fellowship Scheme. It is a core part of Strategy 2032, which is the Sydney University's brand new strategy. And it's really important for us to be supporting early and mid-career researchers throughout all of the programs in Strategy 2032, but this is a key plank. It's 40 continuing positions for early mid-career researchers, less than 10 years out of their PhD, and it's going to provide them with the security and the research support and the training to get an academic career just absolutely flying in those first 5 years, followed by a continuing teaching and research role.
And they get research funding support as well.
That's right. So there's up to $100,000 per year, depending on the discipline, of research funding for them to spend on their own programs.
That's fantastic. Why did you pick the three: climate change, health, environmental sustainability?
Our strategy is focused on excellence in research, but also research that tackles the greatest challenges and contributes to the contributes to the public good. So what we've done here is we've focused this fellowship scheme on the absolutely top performing researchers around the globe. It's an open, competitive process. They can be any discipline whatsoever, so it's discipline agnostic, but they need to be applying their discipline to one of the great challenges of society. And we know that climate, health and sustainability are in fact compounding challenges for us across the globe. Now, I'm chief author of the State of Environment report. I'm a marine ecologist, as you mentioned. So I know with great clarity and great detail that those crises are barreling towards us, compounding each other. And the solutions to those crises are going to come from great research. And often those solutions are going to come from early career researchers who are just at the top of their game. They're really innovative. They're not constrained by old methodological thinking. They're willing to collaborate and come up with those solutions. So that's the character that we're looking for.
Collaborate's an important word. Your now former Vice Chancellor at Sydney, Dr. Spence, once said to me that that people knew more about what was going on in their discipline across the world than they did on the floor down. How are you going to create a community for these fellows?
So we have a cohort approach to supporting these fellows as they, get their career kick-started. That means that across the program, there will be training. We would be bringing them together on a regular basis throughout those 5 years, helping them and workshopping ideas with them, but also building collaborations within the cohort. They'll also be supported by the rest of the ecosystem. So Sydney University is an outstanding research-intensive university. We're regularly ranking very highly in the top 50 of the global rankings, but also we have this incredible breadth and depth of research. So just as an example, 30 of our subjects are ranked in the top 50 globally in the QS World University Rankings. So you can see anything from oncology to ancient history and literature, absolutely shining at this university. What we want is for people with those different disciplinary backgrounds to be able to come together, work across the cohort, but also join centres and institutes. So the University of Sydney has 150 existing centres and institutes, and many of them are deliberately focused on multidisciplinary research.
Are they going to have enough time to arrive with the view of doing X? They meet someone 3 months later and then they realise they really want to do Y, and Y is, it takes them in an entirely new disciplinary direction. There going to be time?
I think so. There's a 5-year fellowship leading into a continuing role. So there's plenty of time to, and I think that's part of the genius of this program, is that it's giving them security to follow really brave, innovative, radical new ideas. So we will be providing them with training in grant writing, in communication, in integrity and ethics. We will be supporting them to reach out and learn what's happening at the university and team up with other academics. But we're not going to tell them what to do. They will have complete academic intellectual freedom to follow their research programs as long as they're doing outstanding work.
It's a hell of a thing. I mean, you're sitting somewhere in the depths of a not particularly great English summer, or wherever. The prospect of life in Sydney with 5 years, it's a hell of a thing.
I'm feeling fairly jealous, actually. I mean, I get to live in Sydney, so I know the benefits of this beautiful city, in the Drowned River Valley, which is our incredibly beautiful harbour. That harbour is just iconic around the world, and the Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. The lifestyle here is brilliant. The lifestyle in Sydney is a beach lifestyle. So you get that combined with safety and security of living in a country like Australia, a democracy that's really, really strong and powerful. And then you get a top world-class university with 5 years of research-intensive activity. I mean, what more can you ask?
Well, cynics could suggest it's all a plot to steal a lot of people from Melbourne.
Well, look, Melbourne, I won't say anything about Melbourne weather, but, I did grow up there and it's pretty cloudy.
What will you assess them? I know this is probably not an appropriate question, but what will you assess them on? I mean, are you going to be worried about publications in this relatively short time frame?
Yeah, so this is a centrally supported program, but it's a grassroots up recruitment process. So the schools and the faculties will be out there interviewing the applicants, seeing that there is a good fit, looking at their track record, assessing their track record relative to opportunity, because we want to be really fair and we want to give lots of diversity into this program. And just on the side, we will be aiming for 50% of these fellowships to go to female identifying candidates. We are really strongly encouraging Indigenous academics to apply and those with lived experience of disability. So we're really looking for that diverse cohort, but we're also looking for track record relative to opportunity. So we're looking for performance. That performance, depending on the discipline, will be high quality publications, for example, and publications that have been highly cited. But it will also be a track record of collaboration and a track record of impact. So looking for opportunities to apply your research to solve global problems. So we are really looking for somebody who's not just interested in fundamental research, although that's a core component. We're looking for those academics who really think, I can do something with this research. I'm going to work with an industry partner or a community organisation, or I'm going to work with a commercialisation of a product, and we will support those academics to develop their skills in research translation, whether that be commercialisation or, social enterprise.
Despite your very lucid description, I suspect it probably was very hard to work out the structure for this.
We have spent a long time developing this, and we will continue to work on it. So when I first joined the university in July last year, I joined at a very opportune moment when we'd had many discussions around Strategy 2032 and a great community effort to develop this aspirational strategy. After that, we followed it with an intense amount of activity developing strategic initiatives. And this is a key strategic initiative. So that's why we're so excited after a year's worth of work to be launching it.
Is there anything like it that you're aware of in the country?
There's nothing of this nature that I have seen, and I've been around the research sector for some time now. So the things that make this program unique are its generosity and scale, but also its application to those grand challenges of climate, health and sustainability. So the generosity, I haven't seen a program that has this much training support, but also research packages. And the wages are very good because Sydney Uni has the sector beating wages and continues to pay our academics very, very well. Superannuation sitting at 17%, for example. But we also have not only this research grant every year, the training and support, the cohort model, but the fact that it's a continuing position is very unusual. So if you look at most of the fellowship schemes around the world, they are fixed term, and that really makes it difficult for our early and mid-career researchers who are looking to potentially establish a family, settle down, create roots in a location, but also tackle those really difficult research challenges that we know take longer than 2 or 3 or 5 years to actually get the great breakthrough. So we're trying to provide that security, generosity, and safety that means that they can be risky in the research that they do.
It appears something for visionaries, people with a very, very broad focus rather than hedgehog and foxes, people who are comfortable and articulate across a number of disciplines.
Ideally, we will have a range of people who are either, really focused on one discipline or actually working across multidisciplines already. What we do want to see in these candidates is that they are willing to work across disciplines, even though they might not already have a track record of that. So an openness to collaboration, an openness to interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary research.
Well, I think it sounds like a hell of a thing, but that's probably not the most articulate description. How would you pitch it to people anywhere in the world? What would you say to them? Why should they come to Sydney?
I would pitch it as just a really wonderful opportunity to focus on your research for a few years before settling into a really substantial and successful teaching and research academic role. We are looking for people who are going to be with the University of Sydney for as long as they wish to be, which is hopefully their entire career. So we really are looking for a world-changing experience for these academics. We, with all of our community spirit, want them to succeed, and we want them to be able to change the world through their research. So for me, it's just this spectacular opportunity. You might have to be brave these days to move countries, but we're providing the security that means you can make a success of it.
A program to change the world. That could be. You could have a worse slogan than that.
I'm sure the marketing team will be onto that pretty quickly.
Emma Johnston, thank you so much for sparing the time this afternoon. I do wish you luck. It's positively. I rarely get enthusiastic, but this has cheered me up. Thanks so much, Emma Johnston from the University of Sydney.
My pleasure, Stephen. Nice to talk.